Hello, and I just wanted to drop in and say welcome to our YouTube channel for Money Wellbeing. Through this channel, we'll be talking all things money mindset, wealth creation, business profits, relationship to money, financial well-being, all of those things, including financial psychology, financial planning, money coaching, anything related to money and having a happier, healthier, more fulfilling life. That is our jam. So if you have any comments or any suggestions, any questions, feel free to add in the comments below. And most of all, I hope you find our channel enjoyable and that you get a lot out of it. Welcome to our very first video. Bye.
Hi, hello everyone. I hope that you're having a great week. Now, I wanted to jump in today and ask you a question for you to think about and see what comes up for you. So the question that I want to ask you, just notice your initial response. Don't overthink it. Just pay attention to what comes up. How do you feel and think about money generally? That's all I'm asking. How do you generally feel about money, positively or negatively? The reason that I'm asking is because it actually has an impact on how you interact with money, what your money blocks might be, and if you actually engage in any self-sabotage that will actually affect your ability to grow your wealth. So what self-sabotage is, it's actually when you have a goal, it's something you want to achieve, whether it's more money, more income, whether it's putting money aside for investments, a certain revenue goal within your business, whatever it is for you. So the question, it will indicate to you if perhaps there's a suggestion that you have a money block, and if you might subconsciously sabotage some of your efforts. So it's similar to sort of procrastination, when you know that you want to do something, but ultimately it doesn't get done, and you know that it's you that's getting in the way. So this can actually result in things like financial inertia, not wanting to look at your money situation, avoiding having conversations around money, not following up on invoices that haven't been paid, and all sorts of situations where you're just sort of struggling with your financial situation and how you feel. And so often the thing is that people sit in shame. They sort of blame themselves, they feel guilty, and it can become a downward spiral. But what I want to point out is that so often these links are drawn from our own experiences and the messages we've received, which we may not have even realized or picked up on these messages, especially when you're really young, because children growing up, they've got no choice with money but to observe, and oftentimes those observations are imprinted, and messages and links in our brain are created by around the age of 7. And even throughout life, it's so easy for an experience to come in, and for an association to be created, and this can often result in subconscious beliefs, or even overt beliefs around money, like I'm just not good with money, or I'll always be poor, or people who are wealthy are not good people, that I can't manage money wisely, I'm not good at maths. All of those sorts of beliefs, just feelings of not being good enough, can be reflected in our finances and how we manage our money. So let me give you an example of just how quickly this can be created. I'm going to guess 10 years ago, I went to the service station, and this example also demonstrates what we call negativity bias, which we all have because it's human nature. This is how we've evolved, to have this negativity bias, that if there's a threat, we pay more attention to it. and we remember the negative events. So that's the case here. I'm going to talk about an event I experienced 10 years ago, and really, rationally, I know it was trivial. The experience was, I went to the service station, filled up the car with fuel, petrol, and I went to the service station counter and I went to pay, and I've opened my wallet and I've realised, I don't actually have the card I need to pay. And so I said to the person behind the counter, I'm really sorry, I've filled up the car, but I actually can't pay. I need to go home, get the correct card and come back. And what really struck me was the person behind the counter was really abrupt and assumed the worst of me. They assumed that I was trying to rip them off, or that I just didn't have the money to pay. And that, in the moment, I felt really embarrassed and probably felt some shame there and guilt. Like, how could I do that and not even realize, very uncomfortable. And so I had to leave my driver's license, or the person behind the counter insisted I leave my driver's license, and I'd go get the card and come back and I'd pay, which I did, resolved the problem. But for the next few trips to the service station, I actually felt really uncomfortable going in. Like, I would check that I had my card to pay, because I didn't want that feeling of embarrassment and guilt and shame to come up again. And it's 10 years later and I can still remember it. I will survive, but it just demonstrates that, there are so many trips 10 years ago or around that time where I went to the service station, didn't have a problem, and I paid. It was no problem. 10 years later, I can still recall that experience. I'm guessing 10 years, could have been more. So it just shows how quickly these associations can come up. And with a negativity bias, we will so easily assume that it's our fault, that we don't have the ability to manage money, that, like I said, we'll always be poor. We grab these conclusions that generally are not going to help us. These are money blocks that can come up. The thing is, with self-sabotage, is there's actually oftentimes something bigger that we fear. So, for example, in a sales consult, we might hold back and not actually offer what it is that we have to add value to our client because we feel uncomfortable making the sale. And it's actually a protective mechanism because we don't want to face the bigger fear of rejection and the concern that we might not be good enough, or that what we have to offer is not valuable. All of those things, because we might know from past experience that we'll go into a bit of a downward spiral, and that's what we fear, and so we hold back, and we might play safe and stay small. The other money block that can come up is actually quite the opposite. It's that we fear success. We might have concerns that if we do well, that will require more responsibilities on us. We might have family members that want to rely on us to support them. We might think that more money actually will mean that we're unhappy. It might mean more stress. We might have some of these internal messages, which it's really just neural pathways in the brain. It's associations that we've created or experienced over time. But the beauty of more recent research is that we know that we have neuroplasticity within the brain. And what that means is if we have an association around money, we can rewrite that link or that association over time and find new beliefs and new ways of interacting with money. What it requires is a motivation and an actual interest in working on that and looking at what you believe to be true around money and considering new ways and new alternatives and new ways of interacting with money. So, what I have for you is a message of hope. Even if you do think maybe you're self-sabotaging, there are certainly ways to get around that, and it all starts with awareness. So that's it for me today, and certainly reach out for me if you have any questions. If you do think maybe you have some money blocks, maybe it's preventing you from building wealth, or if you have any challenges at all, you certainly are most welcome to reach out for me. So that's it for me, and I wish you all the very best. Take care.